Hey, we're finally here. After enough time, I decided to go ahead and do it. We are doing the Contested Jumper podcast. I came up with the name just last night. I was like thinking of stuff. I looked up a different name I wanted, and it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And someone else had it as well. So here we are now with the Contested Jumper podcast. Welcome it, everyone. And what I'm going to be doing here, just obviously talking about some basketball. That's about the whole premise of the show. At some point, we might have guests on here. Just for now, starting with just myself until we get things figured out and just see how this goes. I've kind of wanted to do this for a while, so just let me know what you think. And that's about all I have for you. First off, I kind of wanted to start with the NBA this year. There's been so many great games already, great performances. PAOLO 50 bomb, just crazy performances. Back to back Jokic 40 balls, and I think other than that, there hasn't been any like insanely high scoring marks. D-Book dropped 40 the other night against the Clippers, but other than that, I mean, we didn't have any insane like performances other than that. So I was hoping Paolo would drop a 50-point triple double that game against the Pacers, but unfortunately he did not. But speaking of the Magic, they're one of the teams I kind of want to talk about. So I've been kind of keeping track of certain teams that I've really saw as like a huge step up from last year or that I really enjoyed watching. So I picked out three teams, and the first one of those three is the Orlando Magic. I do want to start by saying, man, Paolo getting injured is probably one of the worst things that I've had to just look at on Twitter, and it just popped up on my feed. I was so pissed because Paolo getting hurt really just ruined my day. Seeing that he's out for 4 to 6 weeks, like we have to go a whole month without seeing this man play basketball. The Magic are a good team, but without him, they are going to struggle a little bit. Um, so far this year, Franz is shooting about 37% from three. Jalen Suggs about 38. Jalen Suggs actually has been stepping up this year as well. He's been averaging 18 points a game. And the thing is, so far, it looks like the Magic just they've been playing so much better as a step up from last year, and you can tell that playoff run really like got to Paolo. He just seems like he's already taken a step up as a playmaker and everything. Like it's kind of insane to me to look at because he he does strike you like when people say he kind of plays like LeBron, they don't mean it just because he's like, 6'10", whatever. He just like has that look of him, but it's also more of now, especially to me at least, I like that playmaking aspect. That's what reminds me of LeBron more than anything. Not his scoring, his strength, anything like that. It was his playmaking this year is what reminds me of LeBron, just getting guys open for shots, crazy behind the back passes. I'm just like the guy is already just doing some insane things, and I'm ready for him to be back already. So get healthy soon, man. We miss you, and I really have enjoyed watching you. You are definitely probably my top three favorite players to keep an eye on this season. So far, sorry, I was pulling up the Magic's schedule and everything. So they're 3-3 right now. They just lost to the Cavs yesterday, which I'm that's not anything to be mad about. They literally were playing without Paolo. They only lost by 11. It was the game, the final score was a little closer than the actual game was. I kept up with about the first half of it, and then after that, I was done. Just on and off keeping up with the first half. But I mean, they didn't really stick around very long. It was just kind of off the rip. They couldn't do anything about Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland both starting off the game hot. And Evan Mobley is, he's such a strong, dominant paint force. So he'd go in and get an easy offensive rebound. And just seeing the guy crash the glass like that, he's an amazing player to watch as well. But Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell both are two guys that I really enjoy watching. It's kind of weird to me that Donovan Mitchell doesn't get as much praise as I believe he should. His numbers are a little down this year, but also they've been kind of blowing teams out, and he hasn't had to play a ton of minutes. Same with Garland, but Donovan Mitchell is incredible to watch. Just some of his off the dribble shooting is really fun. So them losing to them was not a big deal. They lost to the Bulls because of I don't know if anyone saw it as or if people should have saw it, but they ended up losing by 3, and Paolo had an inbound, and at half court, zero point 0.1 seconds left. So that's not enough time to catch the ball and throw it up there. Well, he did his damn sure best to catch that ball, and the second he did, he lofted it up there, and that sucker went in off the backboard. So I don't know exactly how he made that, but it didn't count obviously. But I just was very impressed. They beat the Pacers. They beat the Heat in that first game of the season where they went on that huge run. I think it was in the third quarter. I just really like this Orlando Magic team, just seeing what they're able to do. And now with Paolo out, it's going to be a little harder to watch them just because, unfortunately, they don't have a primary scorer really without Paolo on the court, because Franz can score obviously. On the season, he's averaging literally, I think, 17 points a game, which is exactly what he did last year. Jalen Suggs, his numbers are up incredibly from last year. He's averaging 18. I think last year he averaged 12. So I think as long as they stick with that, and Jalen Suggs, he's going to have to step up for this team with Paolo out. So I don't expect them to do great with him out. Coming up, they have the Mavericks and the Thunder, which both of those are away games, and then the Pacers as well. If they drop not having Paolo in, then I could see that happening. But other than that, you have the Pelicans, the Wizards, Hornets. So you have a rough front half of that next like 8 games, but then after that you do play some easier competition. So I think as long as they can kind of split some of these games, make it out of it with a 500 record, then I'd be happy for them. That'd be very, very good for them. But another team I really wanted to talk about is the Sacramento Kings. So last night the Kings played the Hawks. They played really well, and I really like the fit of DeMar DeRozan on this team a lot more than I thought I would. So for those who don't know, DeMar DeRozan is probably my favorite player of all time. I just love his play style and his elite mid-range shot making. That's also part of the reason the name of this podcast was created, because what's better than knocking down a jump shot over a defender with his hand right in your face? DeMar DeRozan is the epitome of that exact. So he's been really, really good. The playmaking aspect of this team has been better with him on the team. He'll take the ball up sometimes, run the point, which I was not expecting coming into the season. I was not expecting that, but that's exactly what he's been doing, running the point. And one of his strengths is when he drives and kicks to the corner or something, he's so unpredictable about doing it, and he does it better than most guards in the league do. So when he does that, you're getting a good open look. And Fox has definitely accepted a lot easier than I thought he would at being especially when DeRozan's on the floor, not being the primary ball handler all the time. But because of DeRozan being there, I think he's also accepted that. And DeRozan strikes me as a good leader as well. So just seeing that team kind of play offensively in a way that is better than I expected. I was worried about the mesh of Fox and De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan, and just seeing those two play together has been actually very fluid compared to what I thought. The biggest weakness of this team obviously is defense, just like we expected. Keegan Murray has taken a step up defensively and offensively, but his defense is seriously something. It's criminal watching him lock up some players, but seeing him play in his rookie year compared to now, you've seen so much progression from that guy on the defensive side of the ball. He went from being a guy that was an all right defender, but then any of the stronger, a LeBron type of player, he wasn't able to guard him as much. But now it's you put that guy on Steph Curry, and he is the primary dude guarding Curry most of the time when they play the Warriors. And Keon Ellis hasn't played a lot, but he has been the past 2 games, I believe. But starting off the season, he had 1 game he didn't play at all, and I'm just what are we doing? Why is Keon Ellis not in the game? That dude's really good. So he's a good defender as well. And this team, they need as much defense as they can get. When they lost to the Lakers, their biggest issue was that they gave up so many easy backdoor layups, backdoor dunks, and what they'd do is they'd come down and get a stop. Like I think they forced a tough missed shot, and then they forced a shot clock violation, and then you come in and then you give up a wide open dunk and a wide open three uncontested. Like when you're playing good defense half the time, then what do you expect to happen? The other half of the time, then they're just going to get the easiest looks of their life. Defensively is the only thing that I really had to say about this team that was an issue for me. But offensively, and of course, Sabonis doing his thing as always. I mean, that guy, for a center, is one of the best playmakers in the league, easily. Great rebounder. He has seemed very aggressive to start this year with the ball as well, which he always has been, but I'm saying sometimes there were times you wish he was more aggressive, and this year he has definitely started to do that. I kind of want to pull up his numbers real quick because I'm not sure off the top of my head what Sabonis's numbers are. So it looks like he is averaging. Okay, so he's averaging 22 and a half points, 11 and a half rebounds, and 5.5 assists. So numbers are relatively down except for scoring from last year. But other than that, I mean, his efficiency is up from the field. And the dude's shooting 55% from three. That's disgusting. What? I didn't know that. So yeah, the guy's been shooting 55% from three this year. I didn't know he had that strap like that. I didn't know he was shooting them that much. It didn't look like it, but I guess it makes sense. Only 2 a game is not bad attempts-wise for Sabonis, but if he's knocking them down at a 50% stripe, when he's pulling up to the three-point line, you better get out there. So other than that, the Kings have been so fun to watch. And the last team I had here was the Phoenix Suns. Man, the Suns have been incredible so far. So Devin Booker, as I mentioned, he had a 40-point game, the first 40-point game in the Intuit Dome. So he is the record holder there for the most points in the Intuit Dome. And they came out with a win against the Clippers. So they are now 4-1. The only game that they lost was against the Lakers, which they got their get back just a few days later. So they ended up blowing a 20-point lead, and then they played the Lakers like 4 days later, and then the Lakers blew a 20-point lead. So it evened out pretty well there. Kevin Durant has not missed a step whatsoever. That dude can still knock down anything, any spot on the floor. And man, just seeing them play so fluid under Coach Bud is incredible. Ryan Dunn, the rookie, lock up. I mean, LeBron, he had that boy in the seatbelt. He was frying LeBron, made LeBron have pretty much the worst game of his career since 2007. Like, I don't know how they're doing it, but Ryan Dunn's going to be special. He's a crazy good defender. He's shooting really, really well from the field as well. He's a good 3-and-D player. I kind of want to also see his stats off because I don't know him off the top of my head. So this season, he is averaging 9 points a game on 44% from three, 51% from the field. That is so good for a young player like this. And like I said, his defense was really amazing against LeBron. He's guarding the other team's best players, and he is doing a very damn good job at it. So shout out to Ryan Dunn. And honestly, other than that, my biggest worry with this team has just been Nurkic, man. He has not been having a good start to the year. He got played off the floor against, was it the Clippers that he got played off the floor, or was it No, it was the other Lakers game, because it was that Lakers game where LeBron didn't shoot well. Nurkic got played off the court. I'm serious. He could not do anything against that Anthony Davis pick and roll, and he was slow getting up. If his teammate, whoever was guarding up top, dropped under that screen, he was just too slow getting up there, and then they just give up a wide open look. And he got played off the floor. Plumlee got some minutes in that game, and he was doing well. And then they ran the Royce O'Neal 5, the small ball lineup, and Royce O'Neal has honestly been pretty impressive so far to this team. He actually had a really good game against the Clippers as well. He ended the game with 21. Okay, 21 on 7 for 8 shooting. That's really good for Royce O'Neal. That's a really good game. But no, the Suns have been so elite so far. So I just hope they keep it up. And honestly, so far it does look like I was wrong about them. I thought they were going to be a play-in team again, but they I the underestimation of coaching is something that it's hard to tell because some teams it's like you had Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee and they got rid of him and then they got Doc Rivers and they haven't really been that good since. So it's one of those things that's it's so weird to to see the levels of coaching and how it can seriously affect the entire team. But the Suns playing under Coach Bud so far look good. They're going into a stretch that should be 2, 3 easy wins. The Blazers, the 76ers, and the Heat should hopefully all be easy wins for this team, but uh, definitely could see if the Sixers, if Paul George, or if Embiid are back by then on November 4th, then it's definitely possible for them to drop that game and lose it. Other than that, they should definitely win a couple of these games, and then they do play start the in-season tournament games on the 12th. You go against the Jazz, the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Spurs for that. I could see them finishing second or third in the group seeding for the for that group, like because the Thunder. I'm a biased Thunder fan, so don't take it to heart that I think the Thunder will win this group, but obviously anything's possible. I'm not ruling them out because they have Kevin frickin' Durant. I'm not gonna rule them out. But no, he's been incredible. Then on the other side of that, there have been a couple of teams that have not been so incredible, and one of those teams is the Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers, I have been very disappointed so far, except for that game against Boston. So the Pacers so far. How come when I looked up Indiana Pacers, there was two of them? Whatever. So the Pacers so far have not been playing their best. Halliburton had a really rough stretch of games to start the season. I mean, it was embarrassing. I just seeing him shoot threes, he was not making anything. The dude does not want to go to the rim, and when your three-point shot's not falling and you're still just chucking them and you won't go to the rim, you're probably the easiest player to guard on the court. Although I know he's an elite playmaker, but shooting wise, he's so easy to guard if you know he's just going to chuck a three. He needs to get that confidence back to go in the paint again. And just like in the playoffs, we saw that. He was willing to get downhill and get to the rim. And not just that, if you are doing that, you'll make the paint collapse. So obviously, you'll have an open guy outside. Why would you not want to do that? So just seeing them kind of do that stuff and, the Pacers lost to the Knicks. Okay, that was a blowout. They lost to the Sixers in overtime, and they lost to the Magic. The Magic game, Halliburton, that's the one I was talking about. Where so in that game he ended up bricking a three from the corner, hits the top of the backboard. I mean, total though he ended up shooting okay from the field, 6 for 15, not great, but 4 for 9 from three is pretty good. So we'll go ahead and give him that. Numbers wise on the season, though, he's averaging 14 points a game and he's shooting 24% from three. Man, you got to do something about that. That's so hard to look at when you're looking at their dynamic of their team and how fast paced their offense is. If your best player isn't knocking down his shots and 24%, Jaylen Brown, I know, is not shooting well from three at all either, but when you're on the Pacers, you don't have a Jason Tatum. I know Siakam he's a damn good basketball player, but he's not Jason Tatum. And if you don't have Halliburton shooting well, I mean, free throw wise, he's only shooting 78%. It's a small sample size, but that's down from his usual about 85 to 87% for his whole career. He's always shot around that mark, but he's not even shooting 80 now. And he's shooting 34% from the field, so Halliburton, man, just would love to see those numbers go back up. Really rough stretch for him to start the season. It does not look good, Pacers fans. It really does not look good for you guys. I'm sorry to say, but unfortunately, that's just the case. Other than that, they do have, the Magic again coming up and no PAOLO in that game. So the Pacers realistically hope to win that game. Then you have like the Hornets. You play the Magic again a couple days later. Like some of these games, I mean, they do play the Mavericks their next game. So I don't see them winning that. But other than that, you just have to hope to beat those easy teams because every game's going to matter. Especially, I mean, the East is very top heavy. So if you want to finish right under those, the Celtics, the Knicks, if the Magic are up there, I'm not sure if they will be now because PAOLO is out. Okay. So the Bucks have been struggling, obviously. And now the East is kind of wide open at the top because the 76ers aren't healthy. Embiid hasn't even played basketball yet. So they just have a lot going on for this team. And I think if they figure everything out, they can still be. Oh, the Cavs. That's who I was thinking of that I couldn't bring to my mind. But the Cavs have been incredible too. So if you can finish right behind them as like a 4 or 5 seed, then that would be good. Just anything under that, you start to worry because you have Milwaukee there. Milwaukee's going to be pushing for those top spots. You want to be better than Philly, but if Embiid's back, if Embiid plays a lot of basketball, I don't see this team being better than Philly. So other than that, I really do worry about the Pacers so far. Another team that I worry about is the Denver Nuggets, man. They just lost to the Timberwolves last night. They threw away a 10-point lead in 3 minutes. And I was honestly so annoyed watching them play. I always am because when you're watching the Denver Nuggets play, I don't know what it is about them. They just, for some reason, they can't get their stuff together for an entire game. They'll go through and they'll play one game. They'll look really good for like half of it. And then they'll either fall apart in the beginning or they'll fall apart at the end. So it's like they can't play one complete game and have a dominant win so far this season, which is really scary. I thought they were going to win last night. I was like, man, the story of this game is going to be Aaron Gordon shot really well from 3. Here it is right here. Aaron Gordon, 5 for 7 from 3. Jokic, 2 for 3 from 3. Michael Porter Jr., 3 for 7. And then you look at the bench. No one on the bench made a 3. Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Dario Saric. Dario Saric was only out there for 444 or 443, it says. So I don't really care. But Westbrook, seriously, his offense has been disgusting to look at. Defensively, he has been okay. I'm not going to give him elite because he has not been, but he's had a couple times where he'll make a great play just from being, quick and athletic. He'll get up and make a nice or block a shot or something like that. But I just really don't like the dynamic of this team so far. As a team, they do not look good. MPJ, is having a rough stretch to start the year. MPJ, last I had checked, he was shooting around 30% from 3. I think last night it must have bumped it up, though. 32%, okay? That's still 7% under his average. And that's really not good. And then Jamal Murray, I don't even know if I want to look. So he shot 2 for 7 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. The dude's shooting 30% from 3 on the season and 37% from the field. And Jokic is the only guy that looks like the true version of themselves out there. Other than that, they don't really have a guy that looks crazy like themselves, honestly. They're really just struggling so far, and defensively, losing KCP really hurt this team. You see, they struggle to guard teams on the perimeter. Everyone's knocking down threes against them. Like, I swear, if you were to look at their look at their games so far, if you were to go look at the teams they've played. So, let's look at the Thunder. Okay, I know the Thunder didn't shoot well in this game, but as a team, the Thunder shot 8 of 36 from 3. Okay, that's not bad for them. So the Nuggets, next game, boom, they played the Clippers. They also lost. Clippers, 12 of 33 from 3. So, again, not bad for the Nuggets. Okay, you go on to the next game. They played the Raptors. And what happened in this game? The Raptors, this is the one that went to overtime, 10 to 35. Okay, not too bad again. So I guess it doesn't look as bad on paper as I thought, but I swear watching some of these games, it genuinely looks like they just do not know how to run teams off the 3-point line. The Brooklyn Nets game. Okay, here's one. The Nets shot 20 of 52, so almost 39% from three. And Dennis Schroeder and Cam Thomas combined for 48 points against them. So just seeing how nasty that is. And then last night, the Timberwolves shot 43% from three. I want to say in the first half, they shot 52% in the first half from three. You cannot allow that. Christian Brown has been good for this team, but he's also part of the problem is that he's not shooting threes. These guys not shooting threes really is just, it's infuriating. It really is, because you have Russell Westbrook off the bench. The dude played 25 minutes last night, and that guy cannot shoot a lick from behind the arc, okay? Christian Brown, he'll catch it wide open. He can't shoot. Aaron Gordon is a little inconsistent at times, but last night he had a really good game. He's just inconsistent. And then Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, they're not knocking down threes. So the only volume three-point shooting that you get that's good is Jokic. Why? I don't get it. I am so fed up watching the Denver Nuggets play right now that I almost don't want to keep watching, but then also I'm like, if they continue this, they are going to struggle to find themselves in the playoffs. They're going to struggle to find themselves above the Phoenix Suns, who are playing really well, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Mavs. That's already 4 teams right there. So that puts them at 5. Okay, well, if the Grizzlies can outplay them, which right now I believe they are, so that puts them at 6. Okay, then the Lakers, there you go. So the Nuggets already are just struggling so bad that if you don't turn up now in the Western Conference, if you have a rough stretch like this can bring you from last year. If you looked at the standings from last year, this can bring you from the 2 seed all the way down to 6 just by a few game difference. And that's not what you want for Denver, who has one of the best home court advantages in the NBA. In the playoffs, you want to be at home. So the last team I wanted to bring up really quickly was the Milwaukee Bucks. So the Bucks, their problem has been defense. Dame and Giannis are both playing well. They're playing like themselves. The team chemistry is a little off with that. Giannis is like anti-screens. I don't know why, but he doesn't set a lot of screens. So I wish him and Damian Lillard would have an elite pick and roll game or something, but he does not like setting screens very often. Other than that, Dame has been playing good. He had one really bad stinker. I think it was a Grizzlies game. He had a stinker. He only made like one shot. So they just give up a lot of threes. I mean, on defense, they give up a lot of threes. Transition, they're slow. They don't get back. It's literally, so the problem was last year defensively, that was their main issue when they got rid of Adrian Griffin. They brought in Doc Rivers. They were fine after that. What are they doing this year? Are you going to bring back Adrian Griffin halfway through the season and see if it's at this point, is it even a coaching thing? I don't know if it is, because defensively they were good the last half of last year when they brought in Doc Rivers. So I wouldn't think it would change that drastically now, but Brook Lopez still can't rebound the basketball, which that's a whole nother thing that people get into a lot. But he can't rebound the basketball. And when Giannis is off the court, they give up a lot of second chance points. They give up a lot of easy offensive rebounds to people who just cut into the paint when the shot goes up. And just the defensive communication does not look good. So someone will run a pick and roll, and whoever, like Brook Lopez, let's say he comes up, there's always seems to be confusion there, and the guy from the corner will still come over and help on it even when he may not need to, and then because he sagged off of his guy for a second, boom, ball goes there, wide open shot. It's so frustrating. And so the Pacers, Nuggets, and Bucks are my 3 teams that I just really am frustrated watching all 3 of their games, because I know what they're capable of. The Pacers went to the ECF. The Nuggets just won the finals 2 years ago. Last year they went to 7 against the Timberwolves. And the Bucks last year they weren't healthy. The year before they weren't healthy. They were a contender ever since, they won the finals. They went back to the playoffs, and I think that's when Chris Middleton was out. Yeah, they went against the Celtics, and they lost in the second round in Game 7. But you can't tell me that this team should not be playing better. All three of these teams, they're so annoying to me to watch, and that's why I've kind of been steering away from them, except for the Nuggets. I've been watching every Nuggets game, and every time I'm left with just a bad taste in my mouth. Pause. But every time I'm left with a bad taste in my mouth. They don't play perimeter defense. They give up open threes, and shooting wise, gross. My thought was, you guys will have to let me know what you think about this one. I said that if the Nuggets had a guy like, I know it would change a lot to get rid of Aaron Gordon, but if you had Keegan Murray on this team, can you imagine what that opens up offensively and defensively? You're getting what about KCP gave you. You're getting about the same defensive value. So, but the only problem is the Kings, I would hate for them to give up Keegan Murray when he is their best defender in their starting lineup. I would not do that if I was them. Just all these three teams just really frustrate me. I mean, the Nuggets probably more than all of them because I've watched more of their games. The Bucks, like, I haven't caught a ton of Bucks games, just a couple, but like that game against Boston, they kind of threw it away. And like, why are you getting blown out by the Grizzlies when they're missing like 6 players? Just stop it, knock it off, just play some damn defense. Come on. Other than that, the Warriors, man, the Warriors are a team I was wrong about so far in my standings predictions. If you guys watched that video, I had the Warriors at number 12 in the standings. So that was not right. So far they haven't played a lot of great teams, but without Steph even, they're like 4-1 right now. They have not missed a step, and Buddy Hield has seriously been insane. I don't know what he's on about. He's making everything. And I know they talk about the Buddy Hield roller coaster where he's good and then he drops and then he can't make anything. Then he's good again. So as long as you keep this up while Steph is out, you have a guy, a shot creator who can make deep threes off the dribble, stuff like that, while Steph's out. So when he comes back, if Buddy Hield's playing bad, okay, you have Steph friggin' Curry. It's not going to matter. So Steph being there obviously changes a lot for them, but if they just keep this up and just hold their own, win a couple while Steph is out, that's really all you have to do. That's the biggest thing with these injuries is if your star player is out, you have to win a couple. So if he's out for 10 games, you have to go out there and try to win 5 because you're still fighting for every one game matters at the end of these seasons when you don't have a lot of tanking teams in the West. Teams are trying to get competitive. The Spurs look a little better than last year, but I still don't think they're as competitive as we'd like. The Rockets look very competitive. The Clippers are crazy so far. Zubac and Harden pick and roll is unstoppable. Harden, this is vintage Harden, except instead of scoring so much, he's just getting other guys' shots. But it's that same kind of heliocentric offense where the ball always runs through James Harden, but he's getting shots for other guys. I mean, him and Norman Powell is also an elite duo. He finds that guy off a screen or on the wing wide open all the time. That Norman Powell, his past 2-3 games have been the greatest stretch of games of his life. And so they're the Warriors, they're playing the Celtics soon, the Thunder, the Cavs, the Mavericks. In a 6-game stretch, they play all 4 of those teams. I'm just saying, if they end up 3-3, that is very good for them. Beating the Celtics, the Thunder, the Cavs, or the Mavericks, just one of those guys, that would be insane for them. But like Wiggins, he's turning stuff around after everything that came out. Rest in peace, obviously, to Wiggins' dad. But just seeing him finally come back and play, I think mentally he probably does feel a lot better now. Just seeing him play a lot better, knocking down some shots, and Kuminga has not been good so far. I don't know what happened. Kuminga was coming into this year, people were like, Kuminga is winning most improved player. He's going to average 20 to 25 points. I was one of those people. I thought he was going to step up, but unfortunately, he just has not really done that. he has not done a lot when it comes to offensively. The past game or two, though, he has kind of redeemed himself a little bit, but still, it's not enough. Trace Jackson Davis on the court with Draymond Green. Surprisingly, it actually worked. Playing against the Pelicans, Draymond Green knocked down a couple threes, and we're like, okay, we're getting prime Draymond back. And Trace, obviously he's not a floor spacer, so when he's on the court, you don't want a guy that can't space the floor. But if Draymond's knocking down the three ball, I think that's probably something that this team might have discussed in the offseason, is they might have discussed running those lineups and might have had Draymond work more offensively, especially on his three ball. Obviously, he is getting older, declining, but they might have discussed that and had him focus more on that three-point shot just for that specific reason of spacing. Because if Draymond's knocking down, if he's shooting 4 or 5 threes a game and he's shooting almost 40%, you're going to want to guard him out there. Other than that, Podziemski has been very good as well. He has definitely evolved a little bit as a player. I am very impressed with the Warriors all around. So far, they are definitely exceeding my expectations. I hope they continue to do so. And then just quickly, I want to wrap this episode up of the Contested Jumper first episode. So let me know what you think. If it should be a longer episode, just let me know. We can do that. Starting off, so we're at 36 minutes right now. Starting off, though, I just kind of wanted to go in and see how it would go, talking about all the teams and stuff. I do have a little note sheet right here. It's literally just one page, so we could have an hour plus episode, just depending on how well this is received as well. So, but the Thunder, my team, I wanted to talk about them lastly. So obviously you have Boston has been playing, just like Boston. The Cavs have been scorching hot to start the year, have not missed a beat. And offensively, those two guys in the front court, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I'm impressed. They are playing really well. All four of them are averaging over 17 points a game. They're core four guys. So really big shout out to the Cavs. But I do want to talk about the Thunder really quickly. So far, the only undefeated team left in the West, 5-0. Every win has been convincing. There has not been a single game that we've had that had to go down to the wire. And I really am impressed because Shea has not been playing the best. He's been shooting a lot of threes. So you look at his 3-point volume last year, okay? 3-pointers attempted a game, 3.6. He's averaging almost 8 3-point attempts a game right now, shooting 26% from three. I know I'm not impressed with that, but just knowing that he's doing it against these bad teams, I just hope that when we start playing teams like the Celtics, the Cavs, the Mavs, the Timberwolves, I want us to go out there and not have to worry about him shooting so many threes. But I do think part of it is just that he is trying to develop that shot, especially because of what happened in the playoffs last year. You think about how many, mid-range buckets Shea got, okay? Turn those into threes, and that series might have a different outcome if he's shooting efficiently from three. So I think that's part of it. The 3-point shot creation from this team fell off in the playoffs last year. I think that's one of the biggest concerns. So with obviously the Thunder being one of those teams that has a lot of 3-point shooters, so going into the playoffs, you want everyone to be playing just how they were, just staying on that same beat that they were on. So far the Thunder 5-0, like I said, won by 15. So the closest game was against the Spurs, a 12-point win, which I'm not 100% sure. So, okay, so never mind. So this game was one of those games that was a little more of a blowout at halftime. But this game, Wembanyama played not good against the Thunder. He only had 6 points. But Chet played incredible. Shea, just seeing Chet play at the level he's playing at, that guy, I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. I was not expecting that from Chet this year. I was expecting a slightly better version of the exact same player we saw last year. That's not what we're seeing. Defensively, stepped up a ton. Rebounding numbers, for Chet Holmgren this year, let's go ahead and find those real quick. So, Chet Holmgren on the season, he's averaging 9 boards a game, already one higher than last year, okay? And not just that, the first 2 games of the season, he started off double digits. One of them, he had 15 boards. That might have been against the Nuggets. And he's shooting the 3 ball not so well to start this year. His shot did look a little weird. They kind of messed with it a little bit. So I just hope he gets that 3-point shot back, because one of Chet's biggest qualities is being a floor spacer for this team. Last year, he shot 37% from 3. So if we get up to 39%, you know how insane that would be for this team? 40% from Chet Holmgren, shooting 4 attempts a game. Barbecue chicken right there. So, but yeah, that's all I kind of wanted to talk about. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Contested Jumper. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I will be uploading these on Saturdays. I think at 4 p.m. is a good time. So depending on how analytics tell me when people are active on YouTube also, I kind of need to get more into my analytics and see when people are watching so I can upload at a proper time. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and any team that you want to discuss with me in the comments. I couldn't get to every team in this episode, but that's okay. I just kind of wanted to hit a couple nails right on the head of, the teams that were good, the teams that were bad, and then the teams that impressed me so far, stuff like that. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.